Number 2 for today. The Cougars football team drank 2.5 cases of bottled water during practice. Each case contained 24 bottles of water, and each bottle held 1 pint. How many quarts of water did the Cougars drink during the practice? So we're thinking about what's going on here. It's a football team, so it's a lot of people. They're drinking water during practice. Then it says how many quarts. So next to my question mark, I'm going to start off by putting a Q for quarts. So I'm wanting to know the total amount of quarts that they've used. Well, the question says that they drank 2.5 cases of water. Then it says each case had 24 bottles, where each means 1. And then if you look to your cheat sheet for today, we know that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. So far, if you're setting up your problem, we're wanting to know the total amount of water they drank, but we're looking for it in quarts. We know they drank 2.5 cases of water. Each case, so 1 case, has 24 bottles of water. And we know that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints because each bottled water was equal to 1 pint. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is figure out, well, how much water did they drink total? So I'm going to look for what information was about water bottles. 2.5 cases was about water bottles. 24 was about water bottles. So I want to know how much they drank total. So the word total, I know I'm either going to be adding or multiplying. So think to yourself, what would be easier? Doing 24 2.5 times or trying to multiply these together? So let's multiply them. We are looking at 2.5 times 24 cases. Hopefully you've been paying attention during our do nows and you can kind of remember multiplying fractions. Can I multiply a mixed number when it's set up like this? No, I cannot. So I have to use the big C to turn this around, where we're going to multiply and then add. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and my denominator stays 2. So 2.5 turns into 5 over 2. Then I look to the 24. Well, I know it has to stay a fraction because we only know how to multiply fractions. So think about if it's a whole number, for me to leave it the same value, I'm just going to put a 1 underneath it. So now I have 5 halves times 24 over 1. Now we can just multiply straight across on the top and bottom. I'm going to start with 2 times 1 because it's a little bit easier. 2 times 1 is 2. Now we're looking at 5 times 24. Well, if I don't necessarily know that, I'm going to write out 24 times 5, and now we're going to multiply. 5 times 4 is 20, so I'm going to put my 0, carry my 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2, 12. So 120. So back to my numerator, I'm going to put in 120 over 2. Okay. So now I can take this and I can figure out, well, how much water is that actually? Because that is an improper fraction. So we know that improper fractions mean that this is bigger than 1. And if I want to see it as a whole number, we need to divide. So we're going to do 2 divided into 120 to figure out how much that is. Some of you, you're already ringing through and you kind of have some answers. If not, and you need easy facts, I'm going to write them off to the side. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. 50 times 2 is 100. 100 times 2 is 200. And now I'm stopping. Stopping because 200 is bigger than 120. So I know I cannot use this number. So I'm going to start with 100. So off to the side, I'm going to subtract 100. And I'm looking, that's 50. So off to the side, I'm going to put a 50 on my little perch. Then I can subtract. 0 minus 0, 0. 2 minus 0, 2. 1 minus 1, 0. Now I'm down to 20. So 100 is too big. 40 is too big. But I could use that 20. So now I'm going to subtract 20. That's putting a 10 off to the side. Leaves me with no remainder. Now we're going to take these together and add them. 50 plus 10 is 60. So I know total they drank 60 quarts or 60 pints of water. Okay, and we're trying to get our answer into quarts. So now look to this little cheating spot. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints, and I have pints. So if I'm trying to put them into one, I'm going to divide this number because it's like taking 2 small cans of Coke and pouring them into 1 cup. Okay, so I'm going to take my 60, write it off to the side, and I'm wanting to divide that by 2 to see how many larger groups we can make. So if I'm using my same easy facts from before, because it'll just make life a little easier, 100 too big, but I could use 40. So I'm going to subtract 40, and that's me putting a 20 off to the side. Leaves me with 20. 40 is too big, but I could use 20, which is a 10 off to the side, and leaves me with no remainder. So now we're going to take these numbers, we're going to add them together. 20 plus 10 is 30. So they drank 30 quarts total. Make sure that your measurement you're picking is the measurement in that answer.